wanted to thank everyone for joining us for today's online information session for our certificate program in HVAC. We'll be starting the session in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Welcome to today's information session for our certificate program in HVAC here at UC Berkeley Extension. My name is David Brotherton and I am the program director for our HVAC program. And I wanted to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about this program. Berkeley Extension has offered curriculum in HVAC for over 30 years, and we're very pleased to have the opportunity to talk about our program, outline it in more detail, and also answer any questions that you may have. Today we'll start with an overview of UC Berkeley Extension, and this will be especially helpful for anyone that's new to Extension and if you have not taken any courses with us before. Then we'll spend some time discussing the certificate program itself, the structure, the required and elective courses, and how to register and complete the program. We're also fortunate enough today to have one of our esteemed and longtime instructors, Mark Heidman, joining us. We're very appreciative for Mark's support of our HVAC program through the many years that he's taught with us. And he'll share more about the courses he teaches and what to expect in the classroom and talk about the value of our program for our students' careers. Having sent most of the engineers that have worked under him in his past through our courses, our HVAC courses here at Berkeley Extension, he can really speak to the value of the program itself. We will then dedicate time at the end of the presentation to address your specific questions, but at any time during the information session, please feel free. We would encourage everyone to type and submit any questions to us. We'll either respond directly to those during the session itself or answer them at the end of the session. We pride ourselves on the academic rigor of not only our courses but our programs. All of our programs are approved by UC Berkeley and are reviewed every 5 years with an advisory board. And this board is comprised of not only a Berkeley campus faculty member, in addition to numerous executive level professionals and industry thought leaders. And just like main campus, we are accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And any student who is taking a certificate with us must achieve a grade of C or better in all academic coursework and at least finish with a 2.5 grade point average in order to receive a certificate. Now we'll shift back to discussing the HVAC program itself. As many are aware, the Bay Area is currently in the midst of a construction boom. And some of the recent employment figures in the construction sector itself show a very rapid growth. And this construction boom also bodes well for the employment prospects of HVAC professionals, because as more major new construction projects occur, as well as any new significant renovations of existing buildings, there'll be a need for engineers to design state-of-the-art and energy-efficient HVAC systems. And looking to the longer term, some of the most up-to-date U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics employment projections, so they're looking out the next 10 years, this really suggests that HVAC-related employment will be very robust. And because when you look at a closer examination of the sector-by-sector analysis of all the industries that are really prominent in the Bay Area and support the Bay Area economy, so these being things like information technology, financial services, healthcare, education, these are projected to be some of the highest demand industries. And there's also an imminent wave, and one that's even kind of starting now, is the retirements from the baby boomer generation. And as these occur, they'll provide more opportunities for existing HVAC professionals to advance in your career. So a certificate from a prestigious institution like UC Berkeley Extension in a highly respected program like our HVAC program is something that can really set you apart from other applicants. Given the specialized nature of the industry, our curriculum is designed to ensure students master the foundational topics in HVAC. As a result, being this specialized field within mechanical engineering, most undergraduate degree programs simply just don't offer courses in HVAC. So our courses are designed to fill this educational gap and provide HVAC professionals with robust courses that cover all of the essential topics. And these include things like the fundamentals like psychrometric calculations, load calculations, HVAC systems design, so looking at the entire system, control and energy management, and ductwork and piping. And our program also offers diverse electives. So depending on whatever your specific individual interest or career aspirations are, you may elect to take courses in things like building information modeling, or take a management supervision class, or take one of our new recently updated lead courses. Our current program in HVAC is highly respected in the Bay Area and beyond, and it's one of our longest running programs we've had at UC Berkeley Extension. And based on the response from our students in our student surveys, they actually rank this program as one of the highest in student satisfaction of any programs we offer here at Berkeley Extension. And much of the program's success, I think, is due to our outstanding and dedicated instructors like Mark Heidman, who will be joining us later. We recently conducted an extensive program review, so we did a full 5-year review with the advisory board. And one of the consequences of that review was that we added many more diverse electives to supplement the excellent required courses that we've always had. And we'll discuss a little bit more about all the courses here momentarily. Another unique aspect of our program is our long-standing partnership with the local ASHRAE chapters. All the students who successfully complete the 4 required courses will receive an ASHRAE certificate of accomplishment, and this is issued by the Golden Gate chapter. Recently in the advisory board, we kind of joked because whenever we asked everyone to raise their hand if they had been an ASHRAE chapter president of a local ASHRAE chapter, nearly all of our board members had been. So there is definitely a strong commitment and connection with ASHRAE. Our courses are also something that kind of makes our unique program is this focus on applied knowledge. So the material you learn in the classroom can immediately be translated to your job. In addition, you'll have the opportunity to network and share knowledge with a wide array of individuals who you'll be sharing your classes with. Our courses and program are open enrollment, so there's no formal application process, although we do encourage everyone to just start with a course and see if the program is right for you before you formally register in the program. And we'll discuss this registration process in a bit more detail a little later. And you'll have up to 5 years to complete the program. But if you complete 1 course per term, which is pretty typical for a lot of our students, you can complete the program in 2 years. And I would also really strongly encourage everyone to ask your supervisor or human resources manager about your company's educational and training benefits packages at your company. Most of the students that I've spoken with and the respondents on our student survey indicate that they either receive full or partial reimbursement for our class costs. The program itself is comprised of 4 required courses and 3 semester units of electives. All program courses are either 1 or 2 semesters in length, and each semester unit equates to 15 instructional hours. So all of our courses are either 15 or 30 hours of classroom instruction. So in total, the program is comprised of 165 hours of instruction, and this is typically between 5 to 7 courses. And while there are no formal prerequisites, we do find that most of our students possess an undergraduate degree in engineering, and many also have professional experience. But again, this is not a requirement, it's just a recommendation. You'll have a total of 5 years to complete the program from the time that you formally enroll. And this allows the flexibility, so in the event you would need to take some time away from taking courses, so if you maybe had a job change or a major life event, you would have maximum flexibility to complete our program. So now we'll move on to our required courses. The list you see on the screen is the list of all of our required courses, and all of these courses are 2 semester units in length, or 30 instructional hours each. And I would encourage you to go to our website to check to see which courses are available, enrollable for this term. And I'll go ahead and let Mark Heidman, our featured instructor, discuss a little bit more about these required courses in a bit more detail.
Thank you, David. So the HVAC system design considerations covers mostly codes and standards, as well as applications of different HVAC systems to buildings. The HVAC system loads calculation and psychrometry course covers the fundamentals of loads and psychrometry so that people are comfortable doing psychrometric calculations and working with psych charts to solve simple HVAC processes. The HVAC ductwork and piping systems includes also HVAC system selection, which is really fundamental and important. But then we get into the details of ductwork and piping systems, how to lay it out, the sizing criteria, what appurtenances you need and why, what appurtenances you shouldn't be putting into these systems. So it's a very detailed course on both the dry and wet side systems for HVAC. An HVAC controls and energy management system is all about the controls. It's really important that you have a thorough knowledge of the HVAC systems, both dry and wet, before you go into controls, because you need to understand how the systems work and what their purpose is to understand how to control them. The controls is also really important course for anyone that's doing commissioning, because most of the commissioning is related to the control systems.
Now moving on to our elective courses, you'll see a full list of all the elective courses on our website. Here is a snapshot of some of the most popular elective courses. As you can see, we have a wide variety of electives. As long as you select any 2 to 3 courses and complete 3 semester units of electives, that's all the coursework you'll need to satisfy the program requirements. All of our classes are held in either our Berkeley Center or our San Francisco campus. We do occasionally run classes in our Belmont Center as well. Both our Berkeley Center and San Francisco campus are conveniently located, so you can use public transportation. Both are located just a couple blocks from the downtown Berkeley BART and the Embarcadero BART stations, respectively. And for any of our courses that run in Belmont, there is ample free parking for those courses. Our classes are typically scheduled on the same weeknight from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. over a 5 to 10 week consecutive weeknights. And it really just depends on the length of the course, whether it's a 1 semester or 2 semester unit class. And our weekend courses will typically run all day Saturday between 2 to 5 Saturdays. Just to give you an idea a little bit more of who our typical students are and who benefits from our program, I wanted to take a little bit of information from our recent student survey that we conducted. Our typical students are mechanical engineers or energy engineers, and they are often early to mid-career and employed either with mechanical or MEP firms that have a focus in HVAC design. You'll find our students have diverse levels of professional experience, with about half being classified as early career and the other half have significant levels of industry experience. So some of our students even have 20 plus years of experience. So, regardless of your specific level of experience, you'll feel welcome in all of our classes. And based on the feedback from our students in our student survey, here are the main reasons why students choose our HVAC program. The most compelling reasons are centered around career advancement. And our program, it not only helps individuals become more competitive job candidates, but it also helps individuals perform at a higher level in their current jobs, which then leads to greater opportunities for career advancement. And another major reason we found why students select our program is the value of that dual certificate that you'll receive from ASHRAE. I know we heard from Mark a little bit earlier, but it's now my pleasure to formally introduce Mark Heidman. He's been teaching at UC Berkeley Extension for over 15 years, and he brings a wealth of professional and teaching experience to the classroom. He also has numerous professional peer-reviewed publications as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mark Heidman.
Thank you, David. I actually have done the UC Berkeley Extension trifecta. I was a student in the mid-'80s taking the courses myself. I've been an instructor for 15 plus years, as David mentioned. And I've been an advisory board member on my second tour of duty on the advisory board. These courses are really a great boon to the industry. Many of the HVAC consulting firms, ours included, send all of our engineers to these courses, whether or not they have experience, because they are a solid basis of the work that we do in this industry. The students are largely working professionals. A lot of the learning actually happens in the class. Some of the classes, particularly the controls class, has a number of actual in-class exercises, and the students rate these very highly. It's a really important part of the overall learning experience. So you learn not only from the class material that's posted, but also from the interactions you have with your fellow students. And the fellow students often spend a lot of time outside of the class talking together, and it's a great networking opportunity. A lot of the materials that we present in these classes, we don't really talk to very much. We provide a lot of resources that we feel that working professionals need and will use over the years. This is particularly true for the HVAC controls class. So we have a lot of research that we've picked up from UC Berkeley, from Iowa Energy Center, from other organizations, and ASHRAE, I should mention, codes and standards, guidelines that are relevant to the working professional. And in the controls class, we button them all up, put them onto the student website, and that we've heard over the years that the students use these materials over and over again and become a very important part of their work. I did mention the in-class exercises and work sessions, and that's extremely valuable. Usually when we have our reviews from the students, it's one of the things they rate most highly.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. So moving on to how to actually earn the certificate. We'll encourage everyone to enroll in the program at the point in time where you're confident that the program is right for you, because the program registration fee is non-refundable. We also encourage you to register for the program before completing your third course. And the reason for this is because our program requirements are subject to change. So if you register for a program when you know the time is right for you, it locks you in to the current program requirements. So you'll be rest assured that all of your program requirements will go towards finishing the program. You also must complete all coursework with a letter grade of C or better for all your academic courses, and you must also get at least a 2.5 grade point average to earn the certificate. Once you've satisfied all these requirements and you've finished all of your classes and received a final grade for your final course, we would advise that you please contact the department so we can process your certificate. Now, moving on to some of the frequently asked questions that students have about our program. We'll go ahead and start from the top. The question of, can I take the courses in any particular order? From the standpoint of our program, yes, you can. We have no formal requirements stating that there's any prerequisites for any courses. But from a practical standpoint, I thought I would hand this question over to Mark Heidman to elaborate on about the courses, because I really think it just depends on your background, depending on what order of courses you'd like to take.
Yeah, for most of the students, I think that's probably the case, that you could take them in almost any order, but you do need to have certain foundations. Obviously, you have to understand psychrometrics and also load calculations is fundamental to almost any of the HVAC courses. And as I said, you also need to understand the HVAC systems, the myriad configurations of these systems, before you can really understand controls. So there's a kind of recommended sequence, but you can also take them out of sequence as a working professional because you're probably facing all of these types of questions and systems on a day-by-day basis anyway.
Wonderful. Yeah, we find that most of our students from our student survey actually are engineers working in the industry, so many can't take these in order. Another really common question deals with how long it actually takes to complete the certificate. As I referenced earlier in the information session, typically 2 years is the amount of time it takes our average student. That's if students choose to take one course per term. As far as how quickly you can complete it, if you want to do it even faster than 2 years, our spring session does span longer than any of our other sessions, and often we stagger courses to where you could take 2 in spring without them overlapping. So maybe you could trim a little bit off of that time, but that's the typical length that it takes. Another common question is transferring credit from another college or university. And yes, the short answer is you can bring courses from other institutions. They need to be for academic credit courses. You need to receive a B or better, and they must be taken within 5 years prior to you registering for our certificate. So you can do that. If you go to our student services section on our website, you can go ahead and see all of these details on the website. I would also want to point out that we do have a program requirement that you can't transfer in more than 25% of the total credit of the length of our program. So in this instance, you would only have a maximum of potential of 2 semester units of credit that you can transfer in. Another common frequently asked question is how this certificate enhances students' careers. So I know Mark had alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I'll go ahead and see if you want to elaborate more on this question.
Well, yes, I've had actually some very interesting experiences with my students after taking the courses. I was doing a job walk over at the Stanford School of Medicine, and the head of facilities was a past student of the controls class. There are a number of principals at major HVAC firms, ours included, who have taken these courses. And there are a number of contractors. We don't really advertise it that much, but the HVAC field is quite broad. I mean, we have everything from commissioning agents, which is a very specialized kind of tail end of the system job, and then we also have controls, and both the contractors and the people specifying controls. We have people that are doing basic design, and all of them could benefit from all of these courses.
Fantastic. The next, another question we wanted to answer is relating to our Berkeley Extension credits transferable to other institutions. Generally speaking, the answer is yes. We've gotten feedback from most of our students who uniformly do inform us that their credits were able to be transferred to another institution. But we would always preface that with the fact that you would really need to talk to the accepting institution to verify that those credits will be transferred prior to taking them from us. We won't promise that any one specific institution will take some of our HVAC courses. So if you were interested in doing a master's program somewhere else and wanted to use some of these courses, be sure to get in touch with that institution first. Another question deals with how to learn about enrolling in future terms. I would encourage everyone to go to our website. We are often, all of the courses that are available for registration will be listed on our website, and those will be available to everyone. And the easiest way to find our website is just to, if you don't have it bookmarked already, you can just do a simple Google search with UC Berkeley Extension HVAC, and our program page will pop right up. Now we'll go ahead and take some of the questions that have been sent in from some of our participants throughout the course of this information session. One of the questions is pertains to, is financial aid available within the program? And I would first start by encouraging, before you go the route of looking for financial aid, I would definitely speak to your supervisor or human resources contact at your company, because we found through the student survey that in upwards of 3/4 of our students who take our HVAC classes are getting them either fully or partially reimbursed by their employers. So I would first go that route. And if you wanted to find out more about a financial aid, if it is necessary, you can go to the student services section of our website. We outline a list of banks that can provide private lending options. Again, these aren't formal endorsements, and we're not affiliated with these institutions. It's just a resource that we provide our students, so you can look to see what options are available. It looks like another question that just came in was asking about what the profile of our typical instructors that teach in the program, who would we expect? Who do you expect to see in front of the classes? So obviously Mark is an instructor himself, but he can, I think, speak to this question more.
My experience was most of the people that are teaching these classes are principals or people with many, many years of experience in the field. And we've had both design build professionals and also plan inspect type of engineering professionals teaching these courses.
Yeah, so they're really hands-on, applicable knowledge is that's kind of the specialty, I think, here at Extension, and that is definitely true for our HVAC classes as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, everyone that I've been involved with that are teaching these courses has a very long history of HVAC design and related subjects. So.
Okay, wonderful. Another question that came in was asking about what are the kind of employment perspectives longer term. I know we kind of addressed them a little bit in from the labor statistic data earlier in the presentation, but from someone in the trenches, this might be a good question to also have Mark answer. You know, what are the job prospects looking like in the medium to longer term in the industry in the Bay Area?
Oh, well, we're in a construction boom right now, and there's certainly a lot of demand for qualified professionals. And I do know that as an employer myself, and having talked to many of the principals of other firms that are in this industry, people look very highly at the students that do well in these courses. They're well respected in the industry, and they cover most of the breadth of what you need to know for being a working professional in HVAC design, including controls.
Wonderful. Yeah, I guess I could add another story. I was speaking recently to one of our energy managers on campus, and before he had taken some of our HVAC classes, he said whenever he was applying to other jobs, he thinks that some of the other candidates who ultimately got the job had been through our program, and that could have had some impact. So our program does really prime the candidates for new job opportunities in the future. And also it looks like the employment prospects in this industry are very bright in the future in the Bay Area.
And David, if I may, as you know, I went through, just as a exercise of interest for myself, I went through and looked at all of the various firms that people had come from all of the classes I've taught over the last 15 years. And we found a very consistent trend that firms like KW Engineering, Taylor Engineering, Enernoc, and many others have been sending continually their engineers through these programs, with some with as many as 20 or 30 enrollees over the years. So obviously the market has spoken that these classes are very useful and very practical.
Fantastic. Yeah, we had another question come in, someone who is currently an architect and was asking, this individual has a considerable amount of professional experience. So what courses, would the program be well suited for an architect, or what courses would be the most valuable? And without knowing this person's specific background, I think you can, Mark might be able to speak broadly to the question.
Yeah, well, in general, it kind of depends on the architect, but I would think that there's some courses that are far more relevant to an architect than others. Or for somebody that's more on the periphery, not doing the actual HVAC designs, like a lead professional or somebody along those lines, or somebody who's very interested in codes and standards. So I would think that at a basis, again, you'd want to understand psychrometrics and loads because they're foundational to all of the other classes. I would think that HVAC controls is probably above what an architect would need to know. It's very detailed It's absolutely germane to HVAC designers, and I would suggest that all design professionals that are working in the field get a very good understanding of controls, including commissioning agents, because all of their work, or most of their work, relates to the control systems. But again, for an architect, I think probably most of the material will be over their head and not really relevant to their day-to-day work.
Yeah, so I guess the big takeaway is what is your, you'd have to evaluate your background experiences, what your intended career objectives are, and then do some research on some of the classes that we offer, and that information is available on our website. And you can even reach out and contact us if you had more detailed questions beyond what information is available on our site. So it looks like that pretty much wraps up all the questions that we have for this session. I would also encourage anyone who, if you have any questions that come up after this session is over, to definitely send them to us. So here's the contact information on the screen now. We'll also be sending everyone a copy of this presentation so you can review it in the future. So with that, we're going to wrap up today's session. I wanted to thank everyone for taking time out of their days to join us, and we look forward to seeing you in one of our future classes.